My inspiration for this is I review science regularly, and there's a number of review articles in the scientific literature on herbs, botanical medicines that interact with GABA receptors. We'll define all terms in a minute, but the GABA receptors in the central nervous system are inhibitory receptors in the central nervous system. In other words, they slow things down. So a number of our famous drugs and some of our main famous substances of abuse actually they sedate the brain or have antispasmodic or anesthetic or sedative effects by interacting with GABA receptors. Well, first thing I'd like to do is put anxiety in context. This is always, it's my policy. We don't ever talk about, we consider it's a therapeutic error to use an herb to do what a nutrient is supposed to do, or to use an herb to do what a good night's sleep is supposed to do. This is an error because you don't remove the root cause and you're masking the symptoms, and the person's health can continue to degrade, and not just acutely but chronically. Now I have these if you'd like to go. I'm not going to discuss preclinical science today, but for each of the herbs that I'm going to talk about today, there's in vitro research showing effect on GABA receptors of one or more constituents that's in that plant, okay, to be precise, right? And there's also animal trials with the whole plant or constituent in the plant by some route of administration. It's possibly interperitoneal injection into a mouse, right? And then there are also for each, there's at least a limited pilot human clinical studies. And these, if you'd like to dig more into any of that, this is a series of 5 review articles, 2007, 2011, 2013, 2018, and 2021. This is a Scullcap tea versus the tincture. This is an important clinical tip. Scullcap has kind of a mixed reputation among North American herbalists today. It doesn't seem to work very well. And or maybe it does, and maybe it's because it's the wrong species, or et cetera, like that. And this was sort of my opinion for about, I would say, for about 20 years. I said, well, I don't understand the fuss about Scullcap. It doesn't do much for me. But I was using the tincture, right? And trying to feel an effect from the tincture. So one day, some years ago, I was reading some old medical books, one from 1870 and one from 1922, by medical doctors who used herbs. And both of these books said, for the sedative effect, you should make Scullcap tea. Ashwagandha is really one of a really standard herb that most herbalists are using a lot. And it's especially useful in the patient who's deficient and exhausted and has anxiety and insomnia. This trial, they had 60 stressed healthy adults. They took either placebo or a standardized ashwagandha extract. They standardized these to the constituent withanolides. Some of these standardizations will only have like 8 or 10% withanolides, right? This one is a particularly strong one. It has a lot of them. We don't know whether they're the only thing that is active in Withania. I would think because Withania has multiple effects, we suspect that Withania has multiple constituents